All right. So Jeremy was able to show the literally anything tab and some of the things that you can do there. Uh, but I think what you're going to find with, what Jeremy was doing and then what I'll do as well is that one of the key features of Diffit uh, is just the ability to generate these resources. And I think that's kind of their niche that they have, is that they're generating resources off of whatever topic that you want to put in. And so, and I think that they do a really nice job of streamlining everything to be able to just input what it is that you want. Granted, like Jeremy had mentioned, he's doing with the non-premium version, the free version, you're not going to get some of the things that you would with the premium. And we've seen that quite a bit with the different AI tools that we've covered. And it tends to be some of the like higher quality of life things like the alignment to standards. I still have the premium version. So what I'll actually do is show how you can align the standards, but I won't do it from the literally anything part since we just saw some of that. But the concept still remains the same. It's just that what the initial information that you're giving it is just going to be different. Whereas like Jeremy had put in a specific topic, in these two, we're actually inputting one of those items. So, whether that's an article or a video or any text. So I had brought up some science tabs that you can see at the top of my screen. And so we're going to use that as our jumping off point for how to get some resources on those. So with the second tab, where you have an article or a video, right, you can take and you could paste in the URL to either of those things. So like if you had, this DNA article or website from Britannica, we would just copy that and then we would paste it here and then still go through all the same process that Jeremy had gone through with whatever your expectation of Diffit using that resource to create a number of other resources that then you as a teacher can use that would, your main website that you're using could still be like central to the unit. And then everything that Diffit builds is going to be built around that main focus point. So like here, if I put in that Britannica website, what I would do with the premium version is I would go to my align to standards and then click on science. And then what I like, and you'll notice right away that Minnesota came up because I had already been in here and was using Minnesota as my basis for standards. But you can see, you could choose any of the state standards. Obviously for me, it makes sense to do Minnesota, and then I can choose my grade as well. Now I'm going to try this real quick. So if we have, if we search for DNA within our standards here, we can see where those particular standards are going to come up. And so if I just select explain the relationships among DNA, genes, and chromosomes from our standard 9.4.3.1.1 in life science, I can choose that. All right. So you can, when you do have your standards, you can select your standard here from whichever one makes the most sense, and then set the standard. And that's going to pull in for you and set it right here so that it knows that the resources should be related to this URL for that article, and then that standard correlates to that, so that when it does produce the resources, that's what your focus of all the resources are. If you want to do some differentiation because of Diffit, that's kind of their other main focus is so providing the resources, but then also being able to differentiate for different students, depending on how you're approaching this. If it's a broad group, so if you have, if you're thinking of the vast majority of your class and maybe they are at that reading level of 9th grade, you can produce the resources. But then I think one thing to keep in mind is that you can come back and regenerate this for if you have, say, a 9th grade student, but they read at a 6th grade level, so that whatever resources that you're differentiating for that particular student, you could set that up here and generate the resources. For this one though, I'm just going to stick to ninth grade, and then I'm going to generate the resources off of this. And then it's going to follow that same formula that when you saw Jeremy doing his from literally everything. All of that's still going to apply. It's just that what we're doing instead is we're actually asking of it to pull with the article in mind that we pasted into the prompt there. And so then you're going to get a lot of your same thing. So this would be very similar to what was already shown on Jeremy's side of things, where you have a variety of options for what you can pull in, the ability to edit any of those, to copy them, to add additional prompts, pull in standards. Any of those things you're able to do here. And then you still have like your get student activities, which is where Jeremy had gone before, and then selecting what it is that you would like, whatever fits with your unit. You can print and save as a PDF if you want to. And then obviously another great feature about this is the Google tie-in. So being able to do like a Google Forms quiz off of what was produced by Diffit. All these are pretty widespread options that you can do. It's very versatile in that, and you can see even under each category you have. So like if we're looking at just vocabulary, for example, you have a number of resources just under that section alone. And so you could utilize any of these that would help bolster your unit that you're doing with your students. And so that same concept, just doing it with that source inputted into the prompt. You still have like your translate here if you want to, if you have some students that say are Spanish speaking students, you could translate that for them. And then we can take that same thing